All right, welcome everyone to this Q&A. Again, I want to welcome everyone to this Q&A. So it's going to be an interesting thing here that someone commented. I get sometimes good comments, bad comments, pictures I put up, or posts I put up, different things. I had someone actually put up I put up the post today for what do you call it, for this class. I have a very interesting picture, right, of a seal taking a ball and putting it through a net in the water, right? I don't know, I think it's kind of funny. It's like a slam dunk, right? So whatever, it's a picture. It's an interesting picture. People see it and whatever. Every so often someone will comment and say, come on, it's cruelty to animals. Like, what are you putting that picture up for? So whatever, I have different things, different different pictures for different classes and whatever. I mix them up a little bit here and there, but sometimes people may may get offended by it, or think it's saying something that it's not, right? So now you're gonna say, okay, very good, so what does that have to do with anything? So I put up a post on Sunday, and usually my class in the book of Leviticus. So I have a post there. I have a picture of someone who looks, I don't know, Chinese, Filipino, whatever, Oriental in general, and he's holding the world, right? He's holding the globe, so to speak. So, why did I pick that picture? Because it's interesting, because you got people from all over the world, right? You got North America, you got South America, you got Europe, sometimes people come in Asia, whatever, all over. So I put that picture up. Usually for that class. Never really gotten any, I wouldn't say any serious, comments on the picture, but it's what the picture represents, right? It's what the picture represents. So someone, I shouldn't laugh here, but someone, commented on it. Let me actually, I'll bring the original quote here. Let's bring it up here. I'm going to quote something else, and we'll get to actually, we'll get to the topic. Now, if you look at the picture, itself, I don't know, it's not really, again, someone who's, Oriental looking, okay, holding the globe. So, what was your intention? I'll tell you the first question. First question was, this is a joke, right? I don't know. Advertise my class. Anyone interested? Right? It's gonna be on YouTube. It's gonna be on, it's gonna be on Zoom. Anyone want, whatever. The person asked me, if this is a joke. So I didn't know what he meant, right? So I said the picture of the class. Now, so I think, okay, maybe they don't like the picture. Okay. Whatever. I thought it was a cute picture, someone holding the globe. Okay. That was my intention. You got people coming from all over the world. That's the intention. Nothing more. He could have been black. Doesn't matter. The fact is Oriental. Okay. Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, whatever. Doesn't matter. Right now, what was the question? Now, person didn't necessarily take offense. I mean, necessarily the picture, but he had a whole thing behind the picture, right? First of all, the person says, this Asian, right? Okay, we'll call him an Asian, right? Is supposed to convert holding the world in his hand. No, he's not supposed to convert. It's just a picture of him holding the world. That's the first thing, right? That's the first thing. Yeah, you have to go on my Facebook page. You'll see it. It's a picture of an Asian man holding the world, right? Can I bring it up here? 1 second. Let me bring it up here. I don't know if I can bring it up here. 1 second. Not sure I can bring it up here. Maybe I can. 1 second. I got it right here. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Ah, there we go. Yeah, this is the pic. Did it work? I can't do it. All right, whatever. It's a picture. You have to go on my Facebook page for the Book of Leviticus, chapter 17. It's a picture of an Asian man holding up the earth, holding up the globe. That's what the picture is. Now, person asks, first of all, is he supposed to be a convert? No, you're not a convert. It's a picture. Not interested if he converts or he doesn't convert. That's not even the point. I like the picture. Okay, but now person went further. He looks Filipino. Okay, so I'm not discriminating. He could have been Chinese, could have been black. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. They're the less likely to convert. I don't know. I know a few that have converted, right? It's hard for them to convert. Why? And it's no different for them than people in, let's say, Indonesia, or people in Sri Lanka, or people in what do you call it, in Latin America. Get contacted from people, people from there. They can't move. They don't have money. They can't move. People from Pakistan. I've had people from Pakistan, India. So a lot of them can't move. I know someone who did. It's unbelievable. They got out in the middle of the night in Pakistan. Somehow, got to Israel. Whatever. But you're right. Maybe they won't convert. I definitely know some that have. But okay, it's not easy because they don't have money, right? And they can't move, and they don't do conversions. They're like in a lot of places. Okay, that's true. That very well may be true. That wasn't the point of the picture, but it goes further. This text is full of Christian references. Where is there a Christian reference? Where in the world is there a Christian reference? It's an Asian person holding a globe. What does it have to do with Christianity? And nothing to do with Christianity. If I were to put a manger scene there, if I made him look like JC, yeah, that would have been like Christianity. Not like Christianity. That's the first thing. It's like inviting the Passover Seder, with an Italian menu. All right, so now, without all that, now he quotes the Gemara. Very good. Now we're going to see what this person says. I didn't even answer him. Right? I didn't even answer. We're going to give him a full answer here, even though I don't think he deserves one. But okay. I'm going to, that's why I always say a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. When I mean a little bit, and you'll see why. Right? Now, it says in Avodah Zarah 3a, right? If you're looking at Avodah Zarah 3a, right? It says over there in the names of King David and Solomon, right? That converts are not accepted when construction of the Beis HaMikdash is imminent. Okay. That's true. Right? That's true. If we're in if in the time of King David and King Solomon, the Gemara says clear, no one's going to be allowed to convert. Why not? Miracles. Open miracles. You can't convert when there are open miracles. That's 100% true. No one, that's what the Gemara says. That's clear. The person goes further. There are those that teach in the name of Rabbi Yitzchak that he said with regard to this matter, it's taught in a price, it's taught in a Talmudic source, it's taught in a rabbinic source over here. It says in the name of Rabbi Yossi, in the future, an age of the world will come and convert. What the Gemara says, how can that be? Right? How can that be? Do we accept them as converts at that time? What's that time? Time of the Messiah. But isn't it taught in another bride? It's a contradiction. Right? It's a contradiction. Right? It's a total contradiction. Right? It's a contradiction over here. Right? Why is there a contradiction? Because we say we don't accept them. Right? One case says we do accept them. Right? One says no. Right? So the question is, but do we accept them at that time? Isn't it taught somewhere else? Court doesn't accept converts in the days of the Messiah. You're right. Right? The court does not accept converts in the days of the Messiah. Similarly, they don't accept converts either in the days of David, the days of King Solomon. Why? Because people want to convert. People want to convert for ulterior motives. Because the Jewish people were mighty and respected. That's what the Gemara says. That's exactly what the Gemara says. So the Gemara is telling you like this, if that's true, right? If that is true, then what do I have? I got a problem. You can't convert in the time of King David and King Solomon. They're open miracles. If they're open miracles, you're going to convert because I want to be with the Jewish people. Very good. You can't convert. They're open miracles. That makes sense. You are converting for ulterior motives. 100%. 100%. Okay. You won't be allowed to convert. Right? So then the Gemara says, oh, we're going to accept converts at that time? No. You're not going to accept them in the days of the Messiah. Yemota Mashiach. The days of the Messiah. We're gonna come back to this in 1 second. Right? We're gonna teach you exactly how to learn and not make a buffoon out of yourself over here. Not make a fool out of yourself. Okay. It says in the times of the Messiah. In the days of the Messiah. They're not going to accept converts. You're right. Why aren't they going to? The Gemara is true. The Gemara is absolutely true. I'm not denying that. In the time when the Messiah comes, there'll be open miracles. If there are open miracles, can you convert? Can't convert. You're not allowed to convert. Just like in the days of King David, King Solomon, no one's allowed to convert because there are open miracles. Because if there are open miracles, that's it. Can't convert. Makes sense? But now the person comes along and says, so tell me, you didn't know this halacha? I'm very aware of the halacha, but there's a very fundamental mistake. Where's the fundamental mistake? I'm just going to point it out very clear, just so everyone understands. He says, in the days of the Messiah. Now, everybody agrees. All rabbinical authorities today agree we're living in the days of the Messiah. That's true. Is the Messiah here? Let's ask the question. Is the Messiah here? No. Are there open miracles right now? We're talking about open miracles, that are blatantly open miracles. Even if we're living in the Messianic era, that's not the same as the days of the Messiah. Days of the Messiah, they're open miracles left and right. And everyone's going to recognize that's God, he's the Messiah, and that's it. Are we living in those times? I agree. We're living in the time of the epic of the Messiah. The Messiah's not here. You cannot compare the two. You cannot compare the two in any which way or form. You can't compare them. We're not living in open miracles. We're living in hiddenness within hiddenness. That's what we're living in. We're the open miracles. Someone will say, I know it's coming. Someone's going to say, 6-day war, that was an open miracle. Okay, let's say it was. Right? I don't necessarily disagree, but let's say it was. Let's say it was. Does that mean the Messiah? People thought the Messiah was going to come shortly thereafter. Did the Messiah come? Didn't come. How do we know he didn't come? Because we know he wasn't the Messiah, right? The Messiah has not been announced. That's Elijah the prophet's job. The prophets say Elijah has to come and say this is the Messiah, and everyone's going to agree. It's going to be someone from that generation, a great leader, a great warrior. But there are certain things he's got to do. Right? And nobody's done that. Right? So, okay, this person will agree the Messiah hasn't come. Great. Where's the bone of contention? The bone of contention is in the days of the Messiah. So they're claiming, now I understand where the mistake is, but they are claiming we're living in the days of the Messiah. You're right, to a point. We're living in the days of the Messiah in the sense that what? In the sense that the Messiah is right around the corner. True. But that's not the point. First of all, the Messiah hasn't come. But the comparison to King David and King Solomon is during their lifetimes, there were open miracles. If there are open miracles, you can't convert. You have a different agenda. You're going to convert, be part of the Jewish people. Why? Why are you going to be part of the Jewish people? Very simple. You're going to be part of the Jewish people because now they're on the top. Now you see all the other nations getting wiped out and all these open miracles. You can never convert for ulterior motives, right? A non-Jew married to a Jew wants to convert because they want to please the Jew's family. No, that's ulterior motives. And if the Jew would get hit by a bus tomorrow, person has to say, even if they wouldn't convert, I'm still going to convert I don't care if he gets hit by a bus or she gets hit by a bus. What's the difference? Who cares? I'm going to convert anyone. Anyway, right? So that'd be a different issue, right? That's ulterior motives, right? If the Jews were on top, which we're not, I think everyone agrees we're not on top by any stretch. You got, all kinds of tragedies going on in Israel, with the Arabs. We're not on top. Plenty of anti-Semitism in the world. No question. Where are the open miracles? I'm going to ask this person and call him out. Where are the open miracles? As in King David and King Solomon. Do we have open miracles? Again, you want to quote the 6-Day War? Quote the 6-Day War. Fine. You can quote the 6-Day War. That's not open miracles we're talking about. We're talking about where there's going to be this war of Gog and Magog or whatever, and the world's going to get destroyed, and there's going to be open miracles. That's something different. We're not talking. Have we got there? We haven't got there. 100%. We haven't got there. Right? Right? We haven't got there. So if you haven't got there, there's no comparison. Yeah. So I want to make that clear. The mistake over here again is in the days of the Messiah. Right? Right? In the days of the Messiah. Because the Gemara says, Yemota Mashiach, the days of the Messiah. True. All rabbinical authorities hold, there's no question. We're living, we're living in special times. There's no question. Right? We're living in special times. But the days of the Messiah do not, so if you live in the Messiah, is someone, ask yourself a different question. Is someone going to come to Judaism today, right now, right? August 29th, set your calendar. August 29th, 2023, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 5:22 Eastern, Israel time. Is anyone in their right mind going to say the Jews are so high up and the Jews are the best people in the world and we want to join them like no tomorrow because we see these open miracles? Nobody. Nobody's going to say such a thing. Yemota Mashiach does not mean that, it doesn't mean over here that, that we're living with open miracles. Doesn't mean that. Are we living at a time where the Messiah is very close? Yes. I mean, we can define it that way, but you have to ask the question, what in the world's the comparison? What's the comparison? What we said before. What the Gemara said before. Right? Well, the Gemara said before, in the time of King David, King Solomon, right? You cannot convert. You won't be allowed to convert. Right? You won't be allowed to convert. Why not? Because they're open miracles. Even if we all agree that we're living in the times of the Messiah's not here. But even if we're living in the times of the Messiah, are we talking about the same type of thing as King David and King Solomon? Why? Ask yourself the question. Why didn't they accept converts in their time? Because it was the time of the coming of the Messiah? No. Maybe it was. Maybe it could have been the time of coming of the Messiah, but it didn't come. Right? It definitely didn't come. They were open miracles. That's what it means. They were open miracles. So if you tell me we're living in a time today of open miracles and people throughout the world, throughout the world, they're going to come, and pull on the Jew sits and say, teach me Torah, I want to convert, and everybody, so many people want to come and convert. Then we can have a discussion. Then we can have an honest discussion. That hasn't happened. You have handfuls every year. Maybe, I'll be generous. I'll be extremely generous. Let's say 1,000 people, either convert or become Baalei Tshuva, returnees to Judaism a year. 1,000. I'm going to tell you, it's a joke. 1,000's a joke. Yeah. If there were such open miracles, everybody would be flocking to be a Jew right now. Because they see the Jewish people are on top. The problem is that most of them be wiped out before they got there. Right? A lot of them be wiped out, but even if they survived and they see how miraculously the Jewish people are surviving and what's going on, then everyone's going to want to convert. Can't do it. Won't be able to do it. Why not? Because just like in the time of King Solomon and King David, right? No one was allowed to convert, but you didn't ask the question. Why weren't they allowed to convert? What was going on in the time of King David, King Solomon? They weren't allowed to convert. What was going on was open miracles. Open miracles. If you have open miracles, then how can you convert? Then you're on free will. You absolutely need free will to convert. You need to see the good, the bad, and the ugly of what Jews do. And if you still want to convert, either you're real deal or a little bit wacko. Right? And my Rebbe would say, if you take my classes, then you're for sure wacko. I was like, thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to have someone like that, in your corner. Right? Regardless, Yemot HaMashiach means open miracles. That's what it means. Right? The days of the Messiah. We're also living in days of the Messiah. We're not talking about that. We are not talking about open miracles today. There aren't. Even if a person had a miracle happen to them. Okay. Yeah. To them, not to everyone else. Everyone's going to realize these are open miracles. In other words, you and someone else can see the same thing, and you see it's an act of God, and they see it's just chance. Right? Give an example. 39 Scud missiles during the Gulf War, 1991. 39 Scud missiles from Iraq come. They don't hit one thing in Israel. 39. They don't hit a telephone pole. They don't hit a building. They don't hit a parked car. They all hit empty areas. So there's only two explanations, right? Either you got the stupidest people shooting the missiles, and these are supposed to be, these Scud missiles are supposed to be extremely accurate. So either you got the stupidest people shooting them, and it's relatively close, right? Israel's not that far away from Iraq, so it's relatively close. Either they're the stupidest people shooting them, that's a possibility, right? Or there's something else going on. Because you can't tell me the odds of 39 hitting nothing, just hitting open fields. There are a lot of populated places in Israel. A lot of the country is tremendously populated. They hit nothing, not a house. You didn't hit a fire hydrant. You did anything. How about mind-boggling? So secular Israel tells me, I can figure that out. Takes off his Casio watch, starts pushing some buttons. I said, you know what the odds of that are? I bet all the money I don't have. I'd bet all that money and tell you that there's never, you're not going to get a zero chance here. You tell me the first time they shoot a missile, nothing hits. Okay. Second time they shoot a missile, nothing hits. Okay. Right, hits nothing. Third time it hits, you're already getting a little bit skeptical here. Fourth, fifth, sixth, 10 times they shoot, they don't hit anything. It's not a problem with weather. They don't hit anything. What are the odds of that? Even 1 out of 10. Tell me out of 10 tries, they don't hit anything. That's pretty miraculous, right? Now, even if you tell me we're living in the Messianic era, not everyone's going to see 39 Scud missiles and say, that hit nothing and say it's a miracle. When the Messiah comes, before the Messiah comes, everybody's going to agree these are open miracles. There's not going to be any doubts. So if you witness open miracles, how in the world is it possible? How in the world is it possible to say that I want to convert? There's no ulterior motive. You're seeing the God of the Jewish people just wreak havoc on the rest of the world, right? And whoever survives, survives, right? But the Jewish people are going to survive miraculously. Not only that, it's brought down that the miracles that happen when the Messiah comes are going to eclipse and make the miracles that happen in Egypt look like nothing. Now, I'm going to ask the question again, because I'm in a generous mood here. I'm going to ask the same question. Are we living in those times, yes or no? No. I'll answer it. Sorry. No. We're not living in those times. So when you're talking about this Gemara that says in the times of the Messiah, we're talking open miracles. So now I'm going to throw the question back. Where are the open miracles today? Where do we see open miracles? We in our own lives can see miracles, true, but has to be recognized by everybody. These are open miracles. If they're not recognized by everybody, they're open miracles. They're not open miracles. And even if someone's going to tell me about the 6-day war, that's one. And let's say I would agree, that's one. But we're not talking about that. This thing's going to be constant. Just like what happened in Egypt. Bam, 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 bam. It's going to be constant. Are we there? No. I mean, we're close. Messiah could come anytime. We are in the right period. That is true. But we're not there. We're not there yet. It could change today. It could change tomorrow. It could change the next day. But there have to be significant events to happen. If you don't have significant events to happen, like what's going on today, we live in a world of Hester b'toch Hester Pani. We're living in a world where God's ways are hiddenness within hiddenness. How can you even make such a claim? Come on, where are all the converts? Where are all the non-Jews that want to convert? Where are the tens of thousands, millions that there should be, according to this, that want to convert because look what's going on with the Jews. Look how God is saving them. Look how God is protecting them. Sure, tens of thousands, millions are going to want to join if they survive. No dice. No dice. Not going to happen. Why isn't it not going to happen? Because we're not holding there. Not only that, God's not going to allow them to convert if they survive. Ulterior motives. You've seen open miracles. Even though the Gemara says, that the person quoted, again, Yemot HaMashiach means the days of the Messiah, okay. So everyone agrees we're living during that time, okay, but not open. We don't have open miracles. What the Gemara says by King David and King Solomon, that a person would have ulterior motives is they see, they see unbelievable miracles during their time, right? They feel God's presence. They see things. They see things they can't explain otherwise. Everyone agrees they're open miracles. Nobody disagrees. Today, we're not there yet. I mean, we're getting there. It's only another couple hundred years before the Messiah has to come. So we will get there eventually. We're not there yet. But all of a sudden, you had all these things going on against the Jewish people, and looks like the Jewish people are going to get, extinct, God forbid. And all of a sudden, there's a big turn. There's a big turn, and the enemies are going to get plastered and get totally demolished. Right? The prophet says a third of the world's going to die. A third's going to die. It's going to take 8 months to bury them in this war, Gog and Magog. But it's going to surpass all the miracles. It's going to surpass what happened in Egypt. That's what it means. Right? That's what Yemot HaMashiach means. Doesn't mean just the days of the Messiah that we're living in now, that we're getting close. What it means is open miracles that are gonna eclipse what happened in Egypt. So now, if someone wants to tell me, very good, we're living in those days today, I think you should go to see a psychologist. That's what I would say in a nice way. You're off your rocker. We're not living in those times. Because otherwise nobody have free will. Right? I got people all the time. I want to convert. I got this issue. I got that issue. I got a different issue. I haven't heard one person, not one person in the last 15 years that I've been doing this. Not one person says, look what's happened to Jewish people. Look at all the miracles. I want to join them. It's a miracle anyone wants to be a Jew today. Jews have been slaughtered. Jews have been gassed. Anti-Semitism up the gazoo. Right? It's higher than it's ever been. Where are the open miracles? I beg the question, where are the open miracles? I'm not saying there aren't miracles, saying a person can't witness, but not everyone's going to agree. It's a miracle. It's going to be hiddenness within hiddenness. Miracle means it has to be open over here. Everyone is going to see it and they're going to say, there's no other way to explain it. No other way. Some can explain this way, some can explain that way. No. Everyone is going to agree 100% an open miracle. Do we have that today? No. Do we have anything close to that today? I don't think so. I mean, the fact that, you could debate this when we get into politics, right? The fact that Israel still exists it's a pretty big miracle. You got all these Arabs and all these nations want to destroy Israel. Even if we have nuclear weapons, so what? Right? It's a miracle that Israel's here. There's no question. Others will say, no, it's the army. Right? Kol chotz v'yadi, it's the strength of our arms. Strength of my hands. How is it the strength of their hands? No matter if you get nuclear weapons or not. If the Arabs decided on like 5 or 6 different fronts, and they shouldn't be listening to what I'm saying here. If they would try and come and invade on a lot of different fronts, there's no way to stop them. You can stop some of them, you can't stop all of them. I mean, mass destruction. So why is it? You got 22 Arab countries want to destroy Israel. Why haven't they done it? Why haven't they all ganged up on Israel and just take thousands and thousands of people? Even if you took all the Orthodox, put them in the army, right? Even if you put them in, very good. So now instead of being 1,000 or 100,000 to 1, it's 100,000 to 3. The odds are still, whether you have nuclear weapons or not, the odds are still very slim. It's just sheer number of people, you can't stop them. It's very hard to stop them. Oh, someone will tell me nuclear weapons, yeah, it's a good deterrent. Okay. I'm saying just take sheer numbers. They don't care if they live or die, these people. So just take it from the north, take it from the south, take it from other places, and just have them coming for, we don't have that big of a population. Just take them on 4 or 5 different sides. How are you going to defend it? How is that possible to defend? So some people say it's our intelligence, it's the army, it's this, that has nothing to do with God. Right? Many people will say that. It has nothing to do with God. So even if you want to say the state of Israel is a miracle, I agree. But everyone, again, all these things come down to the same thing, to the same point, and that is they're open miracles that everybody sees and everybody acknowledges. It's not just, oh, he has his opinion, I have my opinion, 2 people see the same thing, they come with different conclusions. No, you're going to come to the same conclusion. That's why it says by King David, King Solomon, everyone understood the Jews were on top. Everyone understood there were miracles that happened to Jewish people. No one made any mistake how powerful the Jews were. Look what they did to the Philistines, look what they did to the Egyptians. Nobody except for Amalek, nobody wanted to start up with them. No one was stupid enough to start up with them. So every time King Solomon, King David, they were way up here. They're on top of the totem pole, no pun intended. You think anyone's going to start with people top of the totem pole? Never. I mean, again, if you don't believe in the supernatural like Amalek, fine. So they'll do that. But no one else is going to do that. They're afraid. What are they afraid of? They're afraid of their God. Their God has real power. Look what he did to Sanherib. Right? Wiped out the whole army one night. They were afraid. Doesn't mean they didn't necessarily try and attack, but they were afraid. 100% they were afraid. Why do you think Moab and Midian, even though they were bitter enemies, they had a common enemy? Who was the common enemy? The Jews. Right? The Jewish people, even though, look at all the miracles that happened to the Jews, they didn't care. Right? They absolutely didn't care. But they understood how their God going to punish them finally through immorality. That's how 24,000 people were killed. That's what Pilgrim was able to do. Couldn't curse them. Right? But that's what he was able to do. So I would say if there's such open miracles, right? Like the time of King David, King Solomon, there'd be tens of thousands, millions of non-Jews that they survived that war of Gog and Magog, right? They're going to be pounding down the doors of the rabbinical courts to convert. But the rabbinical court is going to say, too bad, too late. It's too late. You had an opportunity before. Now all of a sudden you see God's power and God allowed you to survive. And now all of a sudden now you want to be part of the Jewish people. It's too late. You don't have free will. Once you don't have free will, you can't convert. That's what it means. Right? So even if we're living in the time of the Messiah today, there are no open miracles. If there are open miracles, you wouldn't be able to convert. Right? That's what it's talking about. Right? That is what that's what the Gemara means over here. Right? So again, well, tell me, don't you know the halacha? Yeah, I do know the halacha, but it's not the way you explained it. It's the way I explained it. Right? And unless somebody got accepted by rabbinical courts, if they survive the war of Gog and Magog, then they'll be allowed to convert. Otherwise, I asked the great rabbi that's what he told me. Right? If they're accepted by rabbinical court for conversion and they saw all the miracles, they'll still be allowed to convert. Everyone else, not allowed to convert. That's the halacha. Where do we learn it out from? From what happened to King David and King Solomon. That you see open miracles, you can't convert. So that's the connection between that and the Gemara that says, the Gemara says that we're living in the time of the Messiah. You're right. So if you live in the time of the Messiah, you can't convert. That's true. Right? That's true. They didn't accept converts because people wanted to convert for ulterior motives. Thank you very much. Who's converting for ulterior motives except for someone who's married to a Jew? It's not because of open miracles. People, some people can convert because they think Jewish community is going to help them out. So they think, okay, I'll keep all these laws. It doesn't matter. I'll fake it. I'll fake it to the best of my ability, but I'll be accepted by the Jewish community, then they'll help me financially. Okay, there might be people like that. Definitely might be people like that, but they're not coming in droves because they lost their free will, right? They're not coming for these ulterior motives. Because if that would be true, even if we're living in so again, even if we're living in those days, right? The days of the coming Messiah, very good. Where's the ulterior motive of all the miracles that someone's coming to convert? Where is it? I don't see it. And in 15 years, the last 15 years, we could also say it's the time of the Messiah. It's very true. I haven't met one person. I met one person who's come and said, I'm interested in conversion because all the open miracles happen to Jewish people. They'll say, it's miraculous how the Jewish people survived. Okay. But look at the flip side. Jewish people have been gassed, they've been murdered, all kinds of things, that have happened. And that's what a convert has to know. If they want to join, they have to know. They have to know what the repercussions are of their actions, for sure. But again, the ulterior motives normally today are going to be that they're married to a Jew. That's the ulterior motive. I mean, unless they think they're going to get financial gain. Maybe that's another ulterior motive, right? You won't be able to convert either way, even if it would be true. Why? Because you're only allowed to convert because you believe it's the right thing. You believe God gave Torah to Jewish people. You feel that's what you want to do, right? You're going to keep all the mitzvahs. A person may have Jewish blood in them. That could be. That very well could be. And even if they can't prove it, but that's the path they want to go. They don't want to, be Christian and all. Very good. That's not ulterior motive. That's they're connecting to their past. Or most people I deal with came out of Christianity. And Christianity is based on what? On the Torah, quote unquote. So they're going to come back and check that. Okay. But where's the ulterior motive? The ulterior motive is the same as King David, King Solomon? We're not even, we're not there. We're definitely not there. I think we're getting closer to when that's going to be. But we're not there yet. We're definitely not there yet. Whether it happens in 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, 6 months, it doesn't matter. The open miracles that Gemara is talking about, we're not holding, we're not there. We're not there. So the answer is, oh, did you know that halacha? Yeah, I did, but you didn't. You just tore it to shreds. You just totally misinterpreted what it means. That's what it means. That's what the Gemara means. Yeah. Let me take any questions here. Someone, let's say people are going to be self-censored. Yeah. Instead of getting triggered over everything. Yeah. Yeah. But you see, someone takes a picture and says, oh, see, didn't you ever learn this Gemara? Yeah, I learned it a number of years ago. Still fresh in my mind. Yeah. So, okay. You want to make me look stupid? You want to say, oh, you didn't know what he was talking about? Or how could you say that? You totally misinterpreted something I had no intention for. No intention for it all. I like the picture. That's the bottom line. No intention of he's a convert. He can't convert because he's a Filipino or he lives in Southeast Asia or whatever. It had nothing to do with that. Zero. I also know a lot of them don't convert because they can't move and all that. That's true. What does that do with anything else? That's to do with the end of days. I had the intention of the end of days. Okay, now you brought it up, and now you're going to say, "Hey, that's what it means." You don't know the halacha. I do know the halacha, but that's not what it means. What you think it means? What you think it means? That's not what it means. It means open miracles. We don't have open miracles today. And if someone says, they've seen so many different open miracles now, some things you could see that you can't explain according to nature. But other people are not going to see it as an open miracle. For it to be an open miracle, everyone has to recognize it as an open miracle. And even by the 6-Day War, people are going to say, oh, 6-Day War, open miracle. Okay. There's only one problem. There are a lot of people that are going to say that it was the strength of the army. Some, again, you have people that'll say, yeah, even in the armies that we can't explain it any other way. Okay. Yeah, but not everyone's going to see it's an open miracle. And if not everyone's going to witness it and say it's an open miracle, it's not. In other words, in this case, it's like what happened in Egypt. You could not say it was chance. There's no possible way to say it's chance. That's the point. Are we living in a world today where you're going to say all these things are not chance? No, we're not living in that world. Our should be true. We see these open miracles, and it's going to be the end. Very good. And hopefully we survive. Great. We're not there yet. We're not close. I mean, we are close to a certain extent. What do I mean we're not close? We're not close because you don't see open miracles. Everything's hidden within hiddenness. Right? That's what it is. Someone asks, if the Messiah is not revealed and open to everyone, you're not part of the area of the redemption. That's not necessarily true. I say it's not true because the Messiah himself, he's not just bringing in the era of redemption. The era of redemption already starts before he comes. That's already brought down a number of places. He himself is like the final part of that. Right? Now, it could happen for a number of years, okay. But, there's so many things that have happened in the world that, everyone's going to agree we're getting closer. Right? The world's a powder keg waiting to explode in many, many different ways and different scenarios. Right? There's no question. Question is, when's it going to take place? Right? When's it actually going to happen? But first of all, everyone has to recognize that he is the Messiah. That's what Elijah the prophet's job is. He's going to announce he is the Messiah, right? But before him, there are going to be a lot of other things going on, even before he's recognized. There are going to be a lot of things. So if that's the case, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Even if there's a Messiah in every generation, and if he's not revealed, right? Let's say he dies, right? Then there'll be someone else in that generation, and if that generation's worthy, fine. If that generation, he's worthy, then that person, will be the Messiah. But you have to remember one thing also. Gemara and Sota gives 15 different signs that we're living in a Messianic era. And a lot of them have been fulfilled, today, even without the Messiah here. So I can have signs we're in the Messianic era. It doesn't necessarily mean that the Messiah has to reveal to say we're in the Messianic era. Some Jews learn musical instruments and sing songs in that Bittul Torah. I don't know, not necessarily. Isn't it a waste of time? If they need it, it's good for them. Some people can't sit and learn all day, right? And what about women? Is it wasting time? They don't have to learn. They have no obligation, to learn, like a man does. If it's a hobby for a guy and he needs to unwind or whatever, if it benefits him and helps him learn Torah, that's good. If he wastes all his time doing it, yeah, I could hear that, right? I could definitely hear that. If it's for his livelihood, then that's not an issue at all. Right? Why wouldn't it be an issue? Because he has to practice. Right? It certainly has to practice. Right? But, the Vilna Gaon, Elijah Vilna, more than 250 years ago, says it's one of the highest levels of the Shar Nagina, singing. Vilna Gaon didn't say it's a waste of time. Totally didn't say it's a waste of time. Can uplift the soul in many ways. But it has to be a time and place for everything. Should a person be singing and dancing all day long at the expense of learning Torah? No. But if it helps them, relaxes them and whatever, good. It's not a problem with it if it's used in the right way. I would agree if you're not using it the right way, then it should be a waste of time. But you have to remember, not everyone's meant to be able to sit and learn all day. People can't do it. It's too hard. Right? So, if someone does that to relax, if they could have been learning Torah, fine. If not, then it would be considered like wasting time. Somebody here asks, can a person in the process of conversion say verses where forefathers are mentioned? Yeah, they would be allowed. It's difference of opinion, right? You say the God of our forefathers, And a convert certainly would be obligated to say it after conversion. But in the process, some would say you shouldn't say it because it's a second blessing on Hanukkah. The God did this miracle for our forefathers. Yeah, so how can a non-Jew make that blessing? Yeah, maybe you shouldn't. Also by saying Shalom Sani Goy, right? If a non-Jew say, can a non-Jew say I'm not a non-Jew? No, that you can't say. And after conversion, you can say, you're allowed to say it, right? You definitely be allowed to say it. Why? Because you're not a non-Jew anymore, right? You're a convert. After conversion, nothing to talk about. There is a difference of opinion before conversion, right? Definitely, there is a difference of opinion. Whether you should. Some would say you shouldn't say it. Things that say my forefathers are not your forefathers yet. Others say no. Others say since they're going to be your forefathers, you're allowed to say it. It doesn't negate the fact, right? You would be allowed to. Somebody asked for playing the siddur, right? You can't change it. 1 second. Why is Israel the only month with so many festivals and mitzvahs? But that's where God put them. First of all, you got the first of the month where it's the birth of man, right? We commemorate the birth of man, right, by Rosh Hashanah. Even though the month, we spoke about this before, even though the month is the 7th month, really the first month is Nisan. Right? The question is, why start the first month with Nisan and not with Tishrei? Okay, so that we spoke about before. Well, the question is, so first of all, what do I have? I got Rosh Hashanah. I have to go through judgment, and then I have to be able to get atoned, right? I need to get atonement, and therefore what? Therefore I go to Yom Kippur. Now, you could stop there and have Sukkot later. Sukkot has to be in the fall. Okay, maybe Sukkot could be in the winter. Problem with Sukkot being in the winter is, in most places, it's freezing cold. You can't sit in the Sukkot. In the fall, in most places, you can sit in the Sukkot, right? It might be cold, it might be rainy or whatever, but you can't make it later. But that's not even the reason, right? I mean, it has to be in the fall to show that you're going into the Sukkot for the sake of the mitzvah. But the problem is, not the problem, but the idea is that you come out of Yom Kippur, and now you feel all cleansed, and that hopefully we got good, we did enough repentance, and God wiped our slate clean. Let's just say God gives you now an opportunity. It gives you an opportunity. Okay, I want you to be on this high. I'm going to give you another holiday of Sukkot right after. Why am I going to give you right after? You could have made it a little bit later, right? Or maybe even before, technically, maybe in the summer, maybe after, maybe before, let's say before Rosh Hashanah, right? But why did God decide to do it then? So one possible reason is the fact that God says you came out of Yom Kippur, nice, squeaky clean. So now God gives you abundance of mitzvahs afterwards. Abundance of mitzvahs in Sukkah. So in the Sukkah, you got a lot of mitzvahs. Your 4 species, your lulav, esrog, your aravas, your your willow leaves, and your adase, myrtle leaves. Right, represents different types of Jews. You put them all together, you shake them. It's like Jews are one unit, but it's coming on the heels right after Yom Kippur, where God thrust you in to do all these other mitzvahs. Right, so it couldn't be later. Right, it couldn't be during the winter for sure. But you wouldn't be able, in most places, you wouldn't be able to sit in the sukkah. Right, and it couldn't, and earlier wouldn't have made sense. So therefore, God put it at that time. But you have to have Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur at that time also. Right, that's why I made most of the holidays there. It says Hashem's miracles all around us. There's that's not the point. We can look and see God's miracles, right? We can see God's miracles every day. All I have to do is look at the human body, right? How the human body functions, as the Chosel Baba says. Very good, right? But most people would say, even doctors would say, that's nature. If the plumbing works, very good. You get other problems inside, you're going to have problems. You're going to have issues, no question. So most people will say that's nature. And you got to now try and convince them why it's miracle. Right? So you're right. We see it all around. And if the earth went off its axis a little bit and went closer to the sun, we'd all incinerate. If the earth went a little bit further back, we'd all be like that frozen tundra of Pluto, even though Pluto got demoted as a planet. No offense to any Pluto lovers out there. Nonetheless, Nonetheless, the earth stays on its axis. So now, so you get all the scientists who say, of course it stays on its axis. Your gravitational pull and and all these other forces going on, and the earth stays exactly where it stays. And it goes on its axis. You get plenty of warmth in the summer, plenty of cold in the winter. We don't get too close or too far back from the sun. Otherwise, we couldn't live. Now, some will say, but that's nature. Yeah, so we'll put together nature. Right? So you have to have this philosophical conversation with somebody, trying to convince them how everyday life is miraculous. Right? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about where everybody agrees beyond the shadow of a doubt what they see as an open miracle. That's what we're talking about. And not everyone sees that today, for sure. Because you got a lot of people, quote unquote, out there that are atheists or agnostic. Doesn't matter how backwards they are and what they think, and they think everything happened in, there's, whatever. We all came from paramecium to a hydra, and this, even science doesn't believe that. Many scientists don't believe in evolution. Okay, but what's the other explanation? Right? So, either you're going to believe in the Bible or you're not going to believe in the Bible. Right? But if you don't believe in the Bible, you're going to come up with another explanation. But we're talking about a time where everyone witnesses open miracles and they agree it's an open miracle from God himself. That there are no doubts. In any of these things, yeah, you can try to convince someone of the human body and all the miracles and blah, blah, blah. True. They may never see it. They may not want to see it. They may not be interested in it. It doesn't mean it's not a miracle. It doesn't mean other things are not a miracle through nature. It doesn't mean it's not a miracle. It's a question of perspective. And by their perspective, they're not going to say it's a miracle. They're definitely not going to say it's a miracle, even if they can't explain it. Some people go to sleep and don't wake up right. There's two things guaranteed in life: death and taxes, right? Not necessarily that order, right? Those are two guarantees. And we don't control anything. People may think they do. We don't control anything, right? But again, is someone going to make that conclusion and say that's for sure an open miracle? No. No, they won't give God that credit by any stretch. They'll say this could happen, that could happen, but no one's in charge. No one's in control. Okay. So why do these things happen? Where does it go? How does it, you have to come up with other explanations. But they come up with all kinds of convoluted things that don't make any sense. Okay. But that's because they don't want to see, they don't want to admit that it's God behind it. But see, you have to look. For us, it's not hard to look because we see it. For other people who don't want to see it, they don't see it. That means it's not open. That means it's God's hiddenness. They want to make a mistake. They'll make a mistake. Right? For sure. Yeah. Any other, let me see any other questions. Is there a commandment to learn Torah for every male Jew? Yeah. It's a command in the Shema. Oops. There's a command in the Shema, right? Teach it to your children. Teach it when you rise up and when you lie down. So what does that mean? It means whenever I have a chance. If I'm not working, I should be learning. But I got family responsibilities. Okay, so you got to balance. You got to have a balance. You have to have a balance over here. It's not necessarily so easy to find a balance. But I would say, if that's the case, so I have to learn Torah when I wake up. Right? So I have all day. So the question is, how far does that go? Because really, we learn it from Joshua, the book of Joshua. Book of Joshua says, "V'gisi bo yomam v'layla." Says I got to learn day and night. So Gemara asks the question. Gemara asks, when am I allowed to learn what we call Chachmas Yevonis, Greek wisdom? When am I allowed to learn that? Right? The Gemara says, I got a verse in Joshua that says, got to learn all day. I got to learn, day and night, right? But what about twilights, not day or night? So it would seem at twilight, person will be allowed to learn secular things. But he went out from there, he's got to learn all day. He's got to learn day and night. Can't even work, got to learn day and night. Oh, but what are you going to do? You're going to put bread on the table. Right, so what are you going to do? Be a farmer, very good. Yeah. Very good. So you can't do both. Can't be a farmer and learn all the time. Right, so there has to be some sort of balance. Somebody's got to be doing something to put bread on the table. So at that point where you're working to put bread on the table, okay, so you don't have an obligation to learn, you're exempt. A man would be exempt from learning. Jewish male will be exempt from learning. Now, what if he's done work? I'm not talking about where he brought work home and he's got other things to do. Okay, maybe he's still working. Whether he has to or not, it's a different issue. But let's say, he's got a job, no responsibility after his job. Right? He's got nothing to do later when it comes to work. What's his obligation right now? He's got to learn. But he's married. He's got kids. Yeah, so he should help out with the kids. He should help out a little bit with the kids, right? Whatever his wife needs, and then she should send him out to learn. She's got an obligation to send him out to learn. That's the only permissibility. That's the only permissibility over here. Otherwise, otherwise he's in big trouble because the only reason he's allowed to work is because he needs to make money, right? He needs to put food on the table, right? If he's not working, then yeah, he's got an obligation to learn. But a person has to have a balance. But what if a person thinks, oh, I got to work more, I got to do this, got to do that, for the sake of the business? If it's really for the sake of the business, let's say, I'll make it easy, right? I'm in generous mood. Let's say that that's true. So that's considered like he needs to work. If it's not true, and God shows him later, after 120 years, you wasted time over here when you should have been learning, that's a different issue. Then he's in trouble. Why? Because he thought he needed to do it for the business. And really it was the evil inclination. It was the HR trying to convince him. And guess what? He didn't do it. We transgressed over here. So now someone's going to ask, how do I know what the balance is? How do I know when I really need to do more work or more advertising or this and that? That was a good question. That's a good question. You have to put your best foot forward. That's for sure. But sometimes a person may do too much and think I need to do this, that, and the other thing when really, they do what they do, and and that's it. And if it's really needed for the business, then permissible. Then you should be allowed to. And that wouldn't be an issue. Why wouldn't it be an issue? Because you need it for the business. Well, let's say deep down it really wasn't for that, and you didn't need it. There's a lack of amuna, let's say, because you went too far. Yeah, then you're in trouble. All right, then it would be considered like you're wasting time when you should have been learning. Someone has to learn Torah commands is for every human being, right? But the difference is women do not have to learn as much as men. Women have other responsibilities. Now, if they don't have other responsibilities and they want to learn, can they learn? Sure. Right? They have the same obligations. If they want to, they can, but it doesn't mean they have the same obligation. They don't have the same obligation. If you're a slow learner, is that a disadvantage? I would say it's harder in a certain way. It's and I would say it's harder, but I would say like this, that there are people that like to cover more ground and learn faster. There are other people that need to, take it in sound bites. Need to go, much slower. So somebody goes through it much slower, even though they don't cover as much ground, but they go through it more thoroughly, may get more reward than someone who goes quicker with less understanding. The thing is that there's a lot to learn. So even if a person's a slow learner, there are things that there's no question you're obligated to learn whether you're a slow learner or not. Shabbos, you got to know. Right? Kashrus, you got to know. Woman, runs the home. Right? She runs the kitchen. She has to know. The blessings you have to know. there are plenty of things that even a person's a slow learner doesn't mean you don't have to know it. So, you have to learn it at your pace. No one should ever learn too fast and not understand anything. Right. And, like we said before, people are very quick to look at things at face value, but not able to make the connection. Right. This is a good example of what this person brought up. But it says like this over there. You're right. That's what it says. But what does it mean? What do the days of the Messiah mean? What's the connection, right? I mean, now we're getting a little bit deeper here. What's the connection of what happened in the time of King David and King Solomon and when the Messiah comes? What is the connection? Can't just say, well, today's the Messiah. Yeah, but is it the same? What's the parallel? What's the Gemara coming to tell you? The parallel is open miracles. That's the parallel, right? Because comes along the Gemara says, in that time, we're not going to accept converts because we're going to see open miracles will have ulterior motives. That's what happened in the time of King David, and when the Messiah comes, that's what will happen. There will be open miracles, no one will be allowed to convert, unless you were accepted by a rabbinical court before, right? Unless you're accepted by a rabbinical court before the Messiah came, that'd be a different issue. But you have to, I can also quote the Gemara, as well. Problem is, you have to see what the comparison is. Now, person's making a comparison saying we're living in the days of the Messiah also. Now, that's true to a point. That is true. Give credit. That is true. To a point. Right? And you'll be right. If that would be the case, no one should be allowed to convert today. Why are there rabbinical courts around the world? Why are they allowing people to convert? If that person's right, no one should be allowed to convert today. But the question is more fundamental. What's the parallel in the question? That's the question. What's the parallel? What does King David and King Solomon have to do with the Messianic era? Oh, you won't be able to convert. Very good. Why? Because people have ulterior motives. Very good. Why? Because there are open miracles. Who today, any convert who's going to convert or has converted, who's converting unless it's from marriage or, maybe a person thinks they're going to get a great deal from a Jewish community, they're going to help out financially or whatever, maybe. But where are the ulterior motives in? Where are the Jews at the top of the totem pole, so to speak? That everyone's, that all these people are coming to convert and say, wow, I want to be with them. Look what's going on. Look what God's doing for them. I haven't seen it in 15 years. And I'm not going to see it until the Messiah comes. Right? I should live that long. Yeah. So it's a fundamental mistake. First you have to know what the Gemara says. Okay, so good. You got a translation. Okay. But you have to know what it means. You have to know what it means. You can't apply something that doesn't apply. And not only that, you have to be able to see and compare what's the comparison. Right. If I was giving a Gemara class and I was explaining this piece of Gemara, that would be the obvious question. That would be the obvious question. What in the world's a comparison? Why am I comparing King David and King Solomon to the days of the Messiah? What's the Gemara getting at? So you want to say you don't know the halacha. You're living in the times of the Messiah. So therefore, people should be allowed to convert. That's wrong. That's totally wrong. Why are people allowed to convert today? They're going to say all the rabbinical courts, all the rabbinic authorities today, top rabbinic authorities in the world, they're all making a mistake allowing people to convert if they're worthy. Pretty big statement to say. You got Torah giants much greater than me, and that I'll be in 10 lifetimes, and they're allowing people to convert. That's totally wrong. They would all be wrong over here, so that can't be the explanation. Because people are allowed to convert. People seem to be allowed to convert today. Oh, but we're in the times of the Messiah. Very good. So what's the comparison? So now you have to tell. I told you what the comparison is. But you would have to tell me what's the comparison to King David, King Solomon. Are we living in times like that people think, wow, I have no choice. I have to convert because there are open miracles. No. We're not there. I think the Messiah is right around the corner. I think most rabbinic authorities agree. I don't think there's any question. Whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, it's very close. But we're not living in those same times. We're not living in those same times. You can't make that comparison. Yeah. Any other questions? You have to keep in mind one thing also. Even like the laws of damages, which is the closest thing to our understanding, business, it's still godly. I remember once I had a question, trying to make sense out of something. I said, if this is the closest thing to man's understanding, why am I having so much difficulty trying to fathom what it is? Right? One of my rabbis told me, you're forgetting one crucial element. It's a godly book. Just because it speaks to you right now in your language and in business or whatever does not mean you can understand it straight away. Because it's godly. Yeah, and sometimes it's frustrating. But sometimes, we'll read something. I've had this a number of times. You read something, and they're like, wait a minute, what did I just read? Let me go back, right? Then you read it a second time, it's like, okay, now what does it mean? Right? You got to think. Not everyone can learn a mile a minute. You can't. You got to take it step by step. You can't get from B to C if you don't get from A to B, right? You can't skip steps. So some people are more methodical. They go slower, and it helps them to go slower. Other people have, very quick heads. So they can understand things quicker, and whatever. So yeah, it's an advantage. It's an advantage if they're both getting the same goal. It's just some people, won't get as far because, it takes them longer to process. Okay. Right. You have certain disadvantage, but it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you have to know how to keep what you need to keep. Whether you learn faster or slower, it doesn't matter. But, if a person's learning slower, they're more methodical and they're getting everything right and they know what to do, very good. Doesn't mean you don't have to review. You have to constantly review also. Yeah. Let me see any other questions here. Is it a mitzvah to do a siyum mashas, or is it a waste of time? Siyum mashas means, I think what you're referring to is somebody learns 2 pages a day of Talmud, and then they finish the entire Talmud in 7.5 years. They even tell me going through it properly. You're not just going through it superficially. You're really, going through it properly, then I wouldn't say it's a waste of time. I think for some people are limited time, and that's the only learning they can do. So they have these, different programs where you can really acquire it if you do it right. And there are people that are, they're doing it at a very high level. They don't have much time to learn. So in that case, I wouldn't say it's a waste of time. But some people, yeah. I heard a great, in the name of a great rabbi once who said, this is called daf yomi, right? Daf means a page, and yomi means every day, right? So it means a page, meaning you're in a front and back page of Talmud every day, right? So this great rabbi once said, why do you have 2 ears? He says, you know why you have 2 ears? Because when you hear a class on that daf, daf yomi, it goes in one ear and it goes out the other. And you always have to keep up. It's a hard thing. It's, every day. Doesn't matter if you're sick, whatever. You have to, it doesn't stop. If you get a few pages behind, it's hard to catch up. So a lot of people would say it's a waste of time. But if that's your only learning, but you're doing it in a proper way, no. Someone had heard even looking at nature during learning Torah is punishable by death. Yeah, why? Mishnah Pirkei Avos says that. I'll get there when about 93. Yeah, why? Because when you're concentrating and learning whatever's in front of you, you shouldn't be looking outside and saying, what a beautiful mountain. Why in the world are you saying it's a beautiful mountain right now when you should be learning? That's why it's punishable by death. That's how severe it is. If you're learning, don't talk about politics. If you're learning, don't look outside. If you're learning, you concentrate on what you're learning on. It's hard. You got to stay focused. Right? But even though it's a big mitzvah to say, look at God's creation, yeah, there are times to do it, not when you're learning. That's why it's so severe. Yeah, any other questions? All right, I'm going to stop here. I do this every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Israel time. I do want to remind people, anyone interested in my spiritual coaching, I'm going to do that tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Israel time. And there we speak about, dealing with all kinds of difficulties, whatever they may be from a Torah perspective. It has nothing to do with, therapy. Not a therapist by any stretch, but from a Torah perspective, through Chovos HaLevavos, through Zohar, the Ramchal, Derech Hashem, a little bit of Kabbalah in between. Anyone has any questions, find me on Facebook at Michael Chaim Kaufman, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism, OrthodoxConversion.com, and Beyond Orthodox Conversion, the Judaism on YouTube. There I got Q&As. I got videos on the Torah portion of the week. Book of Leviticus, controversial issues. You want to send me an email, rabbichaimkaufman@gmail.com, RABBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com. Wish everyone a good beginning of the day, middle of the day, or almost end of the day.